And it was a different scene, or is a different scene, in Egypt. Tens of thousands of people have been jamming Cairo's Tahrir Square all day, actually celebrating the downfall of President Hosni Mubarak 1 week ago, in fact today. Meantime, there is developing news out of Egypt. The country's current military rulers have agreed to let 2 Iranian naval vessels pass through the Suez Canal, which Egypt controls. NBC's Martin Fletcher joins me live now by phone from Tel Aviv. And Martin, Israel had said early on that if this to happen, it would be seen as a provocation. What else can you tell us about the reaction now?
Well, that's right, Cameron, and this is what the Israelis did not want to see. They lodged firm protests with the Egyptians. They called upon the Americans to stop this happening. But now it appears that the Egyptians have, after all, given permission for the 2 Iranian warships to pass through the canal into the Mediterranean. And then from there, they're expected to sail up to Syria, right past Israel's coast. So Israel's worried about what that means. But one has to stress, Israel is in no imminent military danger from these 2 ships. One is a frigate and one is a supply ship. Their mission, they say, is to go to the Syrian port of Latakia and Tripoli and there engage in training exercises. But although there's no real military threat to Israel from this, the reason Israel says it's a provocation is that Iran, since 1979, since the Ayatollahs took over, have never sent military ships through the Suez Canal. They have had warships in the Mediterranean before, but they've never used the Suez Canal. And now it's seen as just another attempt by the Iranian regime to to provoke the Israelis, to provoke the Americans, to provoke all the European powers by showing that they can use the canal, they can go into the Mediterranean, they can engage in military exercises in the Mediterranean. And for Israel, of course, that's a major threat because Israel, Iran are of course, deadly enemies. And Israel's concerned that the Iranian presence of those ships in the Mediterranean will strengthen the Hezbollah regime, the Hezbollah group in Lebanon. One issue is that maybe, the Israelis say, the Iranian warships could be carrying weapons which they can unload in Syria, which would then be transferred to Hezbollah in Lebanon and eventually be used against Israel. So that's a major concern of Israel. But at the same time, the Iranians are perfectly within their legal international rights to use the canal, and there's no sense at all that they're going against the law, but it is seen as a provocation, an unnecessary provocation, says Israel.
All right. NBC's Martin Fletcher live for us in Tel Aviv. Thank you, Martin. Coming up, a woman